Well, the March 3rd edition of Monday Night Raw that apparently the entire crowd at the Allstate Arena in Chicago were trying to hijack is now in the books. Did it get hijacked? No, not really. Did the WWE pick up on the chance and roll with the show? Yeah. It actually used it to the best of their abilities and made a great show tonight. So, let's talk about the first thing before I go to anything more. A little housekeeping, so we'll get this out of the way. Number one, I apologize. The weather got in the way again, and AJ was not able to make it over today, so that's the reason why you have not gotten your Oscar recap yet. And I know what you're probably thinking, oh, and you're still licking your wounds. And I'm like, well, pretty much. But still, that's not the reason why. He wasn't able to make it over here, so that's the reason why you're not having a video right now. You'll get it this week. And there'll be a lot of wrestling content in the next few days. As a matter of fact, you got today's video, because this is technically Tuesday. Tomorrow's video will be NXT Arrival, and Thursday's video will be last week's Impact. So that's still to come, and of course, we've got SmackDown coming up, and this week's NXT coming up, as well as next week's Raw coming up. On top of that, we have TNA Lockdown is going to be live on pay-per-view this coming Sunday. So a week from yesterday, or 2 days from now, considering the fact that it is Tuesday. And in 15 minutes, it will legitimately be Tuesday, so I won't have to say quote marks. So there you go. Now, there's been a lot of speculation lately upon stuff that John Murdy's been saying about Halloween Horror Nights 24 as it pertains to Hollywood. And the first code word was released, which was Malcolm. And I shot a video about it, and apparently people watched it. It actually got the interest of Dr. Jimmy, who mentioned me by name for the first time ever, and that was pretty cool given the fact that I'm a big fan of Dr. Jimmy. Obviously, Dr. Jimmy's partially the reason that Pop exists. Him and the Tim track are the reason that Pop exists as a channel. So, we got that. That was pretty cool. And today I just kind of chilled out. I woke up this morning and I did something I have never done in my life. I shoveled the driveway. Yes, Sir Disney actually did manual labor outside of his shoot job. Doesn't happen very often. At all. And there's a reason for that, folks, because I'm a customer service guy. I'm not a manual labor guy. So, once I did that, I just chilled out, watched some Key of Awesome, and everything was going fine. Dr. Jimmy shot out 3 new Malcolm videos, and I watched all of those. And then on top of that, I decided I wanted to clean the house. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I did today. So, it is Tuesday, so today I gotta work. We'll see how that turns out. And I will also be going to beat-ups tonight with AJ. Wednesday, I gotta work, and then, of course, you're gonna get your NXT Arrival video, which I'm hoping to be able to watch today, actually. I want to watch it first, and then recap it after I watch it a second time, because, you know, I'm learning rather quickly that when you recap wrestling events live, and you do notations like this is my Raw notes right here, mind you. This is legitly 4 pages of notes, almost completely front and back. So yeah. It doesn't let me enjoy the show as much as somebody who's not recapping it. So I kind of want to go back and watch the show again and make sure before I do the recap. Either way, it's still coming this week. So, how does the big show, the big Raw in Chicago start? Well, there was an announcement made a couple days ago. Dave Meltzer, who is a very respected wrestling journalist, I take that with, some people may scoff at that, but yeah, a lot of people jumped to Meltzer with this, made a comment that said that sources close in the WWE, a big name, of course they're not name dropping who it is, said that CM Punk was about 100% to return to Raw tonight. Well, that's how the show starts. Living Color hits, Cult of Personality plays, and we're off. Punk doesn't come out. As Tron's playing, fans are chanting his name, Punk doesn't come out. Paul Heyman comes out. He has a mic in his hands. This is going to be interesting. He walks out, fans are chanting CM Punk at the top of their lungs. Heyman just holds the mic so the crowd can chant into the microphone, in essence. And he says, well, I believe he deserves louder than that. Fans start chanting CM Punk even louder, even more furious and ferocious. What does he do? He sits Indian style in the center of the ring with his microphone. We're getting a pipe bomb from Paul Heyman. Or so it seems. I came here tonight to tell the story of a Paul Heyman guy. A Paul Heyman guy that was never truly wanted in the WWE. That they thought was way too small to main event WrestleMania. Who didn't have the right corporate look. Too many tattoos. Too much of a rebel against the system. They just didn't want him in the WWE from day one. And certainly they don't want him in the WWE right now. A Paul Heyman guy who had the balls to say what no one else would. Born, raised, and still currently living here in Chicago. This is my pipe bomb about CM Punk. And for the first time since January, Punk's name is uttered on WWE television. Now, during the pre-show on the WWE Network, Josh Matthews actually brought up Punk by name, and that was the first time it was ever mentioned, period. This is the first time that it was mentioned on WWE television since Punk walked out of the company. So, we continue. He pauses after he says Punk's name, and he punctuates the statement with who is not here this evening. Chorus of boos from the entire crowd. But here's the biggest part of my pipe bomb. If you're looking me to disagree, I'm not going to. If Punk were here, he'd prove his detractors wrong and show why he is the best in the world. Now, what really happened? Why won't people talk about CM Punk anymore? There is someone to blame, and tonight I will point the blame at someone, and that blame is pointed at each and every one of you. The brilliance of Paul Heyman being able to turn the entire crowd. The truth hurts, doesn't it? People accept lies easier. That's the reason I've always been a liar. When CM Punk was with me, he reigned as champion. You took him away from me. You made him your hero. How far did it get you? When you took Punk away from me, you took Punk away from yourselves. But there's someone else to blame here. That's The Undertaker. This all started when we couldn't beat the streak. I want revenge. I want to take that streak away from The Undertaker. And only one man can do it. My client, my best friend, Brock Lesnar. Lesnar comes out. He says, unlike some people, I don't make claims I can't back up. And I know in my heart The Undertaker is scared of me. Many have tried, all have failed. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and even your baby boy CM Punk, all failures. At WrestleMania 30, I will conquer the streak. Lesnar's music hits. stops. Mark Henry's music hits. Comes out. He backs Lesnar off. Lesnar steps up off the steps and tries to attack. He walks in a right hand for Mark Henry, and Mark Henry ends up getting whipped into the steel steps. Brock grabs the steps, nails Henry in the face with them, rips the announce table apart. I mean, literally rips the table apart to the point that he took a monitor and threw it into the crowd. And hit someone. Didn't do any damage, apparently, so no lawsuit, no need to call Jerry McDevitt. So, what is he doing? He's setting up Mark Henry's demise. He F5'd him through the table. Chance for Punk to start up again. That's the end of the first segment. Okay. Now, this, everyone said, and I said it too, that Punk's music was going to hit, and the right thing that should have happened, that everyone was expecting. Wade Barrett comes out. He says he's got some bad news. Instant monster heel. Didn't happen. Paul Heyman came out. Someone who the crowd loves, but also the crowd will turn on. Because basically Paul Heyman is an amazing mic worker. The thing is, you started this out right. The crowd were chanting for Punk through the Superstars taping. The crowd wanted to cheer for who they wanted to cheer for. I saw the, it was basically Occupy WWE is pretty much what it was in essence. But Chicago was just prepared to riot because Punk wasn't going to be there. WWE, to their credit, sent Paul Heyman out there to coddle the crowd, get them to buy into sincerity, and then just that quickly, swipe it all away like a carpet. Swipe the carpet right from under their feet. And Heyman became a monster heel, even more so than he was before. Especially with the WWE Universe that was here just because CM Punk. Well, I like this. What it did was, it gave Paul Heyman a legitimate reason to want to break the streak. We don't need to mention the fact of Paul Heyman formerly managing The Undertaker in his early days, back in WCW, when he was Mean Mark Callis. Oh no, we're going into WWE territory, which the only way you can see Mean Mark Callis is on the WWE Network. And I'm sure those appearances are few and far between. Maybe partially the reason we don't have Clash of Champions on the network yet. I think it'll happen eventually, and that's what I want to see. But, basically, Paul Heyman feels that the downfall of CM Punk started with the fans liking him, and with The Undertaker defeating him at WrestleMania last year. He couldn't get the job done. Paul wanted revenge, he wants to streak. Here comes Brock Lesnar. There's already built-in animosity between the two. And they've already started this back at the UFC event where Taker basically looked at Lesnar and says, "You want to do this?" I'm paraphrasing, of course, but still. It was set up. And there weren't a guarantee that we were going to get the match. But now it's pretty much been signed, sealed, delivered, literally, in Brock Lesnar's own blood, because what did Taker do last week on Raw? He stabbed him through the hand with a pen. Because, like I said before, the pen is mightier than the sword. Yeah. So, crowd's chanting for CM Punk. It's on and off. What do we do? What do the WWE do in order to silence this raucous crowd, to get them not to chant for their hero and get them to pay attention to the action? Give us action non-stop. Balls to the wall so much that I have a cramp in my hand legitimately because I was writing so much. So we start off the show with our first match. It is for the WWE Tag Team Championships. The New Age Outlaws, Badass Billy Gunn, and the Road Dogg Jesse James defending against Jimmy and Jey Uso. Now, I've been saying for a while now that the Usos should have taken the Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania and make it mean more. But I understand why they did what they did. And to pretty much spoil the ending here, the right thing happened. And I'm guessing we're going to lead to a multi-team match, like a tag team turmoil at WrestleMania. Then again, potentially splitting up the Shield, the Real Americans. You've already split up the primetime players. You really don't have many tag teams to throw into this. You could bring the Ascension up, but it may not be the right time yet. Three-man band are looking on as jokes, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Yeah. So much for the tag team rebirth in WWE. It's pretty much going downhill now. It sucks. And the Brotherhood, too. Apparently, where was Goldust and Cody Rhodes on the show? Not even here. So, let's talk about the match, shall we? We go midway through the match. But before I do this, I'm going to say something I've been wanting to say for a long time. You remember how we want to solidify the Outlaws as heels, but they come out and they do their babyface shtick? Road Dogg grabs a mic and says, "Chicago isn't worthy of my catchphrases." After weeks upon weeks upon weeks of everybody complaining about them not being heels, sucking up to the crowd and then playing heels afterwards, the Outlaws have finally turned heel. That's good. So, we got midway through the match. Road Dogg with a chin lock. And this is on Jay, by the way. Jay butts out and tagging a Billy. Roll up with the tights, 1-2, and a kick out. Billy nails Jay, 1-2, and a kick out. Tagging to the Road Dogg. He elbows his way out, and the boot gets caught, spun around. He ducks the kick, but he gets nailed with one of his own. And double tag. Ducks the clothesline. Jimmy comes in like a house of fire, knocks the Road Dogg off the ring apron smartly. The elbow whip in reverse, ducks the clothesline, Savate kick to the ribs. And he knocks the Road Dogg off the apron yet again. Ducks Billy and Big Samoan drop off the ropes. Jimmy hits the Road Dogg with the Uso Bomb and the running butt bump on the Road Dogg. Whisper in the wind on Billy, 1-2, and Billy Gunn kicks out. Goes up top, and he ducks the clothesline. Savate kicks him off the ring apron. Billy rolls him up, hooks the tights again, 1-2, and a kick out. Catches them off the ropes with a tilt-a-whirl slam, and gets a 2 off that. Boot in, goes for the Famouser. He ducks out of the way, and clothesline, and then the leaping tag in from the SSD on the Road Dogg, and ducks the big boot of Billy. Comes in, huge Savate kick, Samoan splash, Jay pins Billy, 1-2-3, and the Usos become the new WWE Tag Team Champions. Now, do I think it would have meant more if they would have won the titles at WrestleMania? Definitely. But I have no issues with this. Now, they've also set themselves up for a potential one-night reign where they're going to do a rematch tomorrow night, or tonight in this case, since it's officially after midnight. It's Tuesday officially, so I can say that now. There's going to be a live edition of the main event on the WWE Network at 7 o'clock tonight. So the Usos are going to be defending the tag team titles against the Outlaws. Do I think there's going to be a 24-hour title switch? Potentially, but I don't know. Either way, I know these two collide at WrestleMania, and that's the right thing to do. I think they have to keep going after each other if they're going to build towards Mania. There's a couple of feuds now, they're kind of stagnant, but they should heat up since we are a month and 2 days away from WrestleMania now, which is crazy to say the least. So big win for the Usos, and I'm happy to see it because I've been calling the Usos to win the tag team titles for a long time, and they finally do. And Outlaws invoke their rematch clause tomorrow night, or tonight in this case, on main event. So, could we see only a one-day title reign? It's possible. Let's see. We get our next match. The Intercontinental Champion Big E taking on Cesaro. Of course, he's got Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter in his corner. We go very short match. I really wish I could have wrote more on this. Cesaro goes to catch Big E off the ropes with the Tilt-A-Whirl backbreaker. He catches him. He looks like he can't really get him over, so he stops, and he repositions himself to where he lands it anyway. It still looked awesome. It looked more like a showcase of strength because he kept him up there the whole time. Big E gets caught with a giant swing on 10 rotations. Swagger comes in. Swagger bomb on Big E. Calls the DQ. Cesaro's like, what are you doing? And Swagger's like, I'm sorry. I was dead at the time. I have no idea why Swagger attacked. He really didn't have a reason to, because Big E didn't touch him in this match. I guess he just wanted to screw Cesaro over. And what does he do? After they jaw back and forth, Cesaro walks into the big ending. The fans boo him, and that's all she wrote. Not really a slow build for the breakup of the Real Americans. Yeah. It's going to happen before WrestleMania at this rate. I thought it was going to happen tonight, but there was way too much going on tonight for it to happen. Apparently. Speaking of way too much going on tonight, what's the next match on the show? Before the 9 o'clock hour even starts, we go right into our 6-man tag team rematch from Elimination Chamber. It's the Shield against the Wyatt family. This match is fun. Good match. So, we get back to live action. And side headlock is applied by Luke Harper on Seth Rollins. Rollins punches his way out, pushes him in the ropes, runs Seth over with a back elbow. Leaping kick from Seth. Knocks Harper down. So, Bray comes in to attack Dean Ambrose. He basically just coaxes him in the ring because, of course, he's a master manipulator. Roman hits the floor to give chase, so this is the first time Seth Rollins tried to make a tag and he had no partners. I wonder if this will come back to haunt him later on. Let's find out. So there's no tag. Rowan comes in, gets caught, Rollins with a flatliner to the buckle. Harper big boots Rowan Reigns off the ring apron, tagging to Dean Ambrose. He comes in, whip in reverse, and ducks the clothesline, hooking clothesline on Eric Rowan. Ties the knee up in the ropes and does a front drop kick to the knee. Dragon screw leg whip and locks Eric Rowan in a figure 4. Harper comes in. This is really awesome because Ambrose has the figure 4 on Eric Rowan, and he is doing a back bridge. What is Harper going to do? He comes in. He double boot stomps Dean Ambrose. Roman comes in the ring, tosses Harper to the outside, tosses him over the barricade into the land of Justin Roberts. Bray catches Ambrose sleeping with the Uranagi and tagged numerous times with rain down forearms on Ambrose. Tagging to Harper, he comes in and basically repeated forearms to the chest. Harper with a drop kick sends him to the corner. He steps on Ambrose's face. Tagging to Rowan, he stomps away, foot choke in the corner. Pump handle backbreaker, 1-2 and a kick out. He takes his fists and puts them against the side of the head, kind of like Bryan Adams' old cranium crunch, but instead of like this, he's like this. If that makes any sense. I had to describe it. It's the only way to do it. Sorry. Ambrose grabs the beard of Eric Rowan, and this breaks up the hold momentarily. He gets tossed to the ropes, gets caught off with a sidewalk slam, 1-2 and a kick out. Tagging to Harper, 2 European uppercuts. The third one is stopped with a huge clothesline, sends Harper down. Cuts Ambrose off. Tagging to Bray, he forearms Roman Reigns off the ring apron. Ambrose DDTs Bray, and Rollins drops off the ring apron when Dean tries to make the tag. Now, here's the thing. You set this up earlier in the match that when Rollins was trying to make a tag, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose just weren't there. So, this whole time, they put over Seth Rollins as the Architect. Funny, he doesn't look like Ellen Page. The thing is, he's the peacemaker this whole time. He's the one that has to keep two hotheads in Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose from ripping each other's heads off. This time, he's had enough. He pulls a Brutus Beefcake, drops off the ring apron. And that's pretty much all she wrote. He leaves. Doesn't leave to the back, no, he's just going to stand there and watch. How appropriate, right? Well, Roman Reigns charges out. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, you know what? You two figure this out. Ambrose still in the ring. He's distracted. Bray with the avalanche in the corner. Hits the Fall of Humanity. Makes a cover. Roman Reigns makes the save. Tosses Bray. Catches Eric Rowan with the Samoan drop. Harper gets caught with the Superman punch. Knocks Bray off. Roman clotheslines Eric Rowan over the top. Ambrose with a drop toe hold on Luke Harper. Lands him on the middle rope. Calls over Roman Reigns. He gets the leaping drop kick to the side of the head. Ambrose tackles and starts punching away at Bray. It's like basically a schoolyard fight. Roman spears Eric Rowan over the announce table onto Michael Cole. And Harper, with the tope on Roman Reigns, takes him out over the table again on Michael Cole. Ambrose tackles Harper this time as Bray posts Dean, tosses him back in. Seth stands on the ramp just watching. Sister Abigail and Dean Ambrose, 1, 2, 3, and the Wyatt family are 2-0 in 6-man tag team matches against the Shield. It's funny how we had this collusion between Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, but because they were left for dead by Seth Rollins just bombing out, they're the ones that had to work together. And they worked together just fine. What does this mean? We're fast-tracking the breakup of the Shield. Obviously, the world is Roman Reigns' oyster. We get that. That makes total sense. Seth Rollins has got too flashy of an offense to be a heel, and Ambrose is just a natural heel in every way possible. I'm starting to wonder, something that Justin LeVar said on Twitter tonight, I'm starting to wonder if we should just keep the Shield together. Don't necessarily have them go their separate ways, but the issue with that is you've already had Seth Rollins as the one that walked out, but cooler heads may prevail and they'll all get back on the same page until the next time. So that's pretty much what we had on that. The match was good. Not as great as the match at Elimination Chamber, but it still was awesome in every single way possible. Got a very justifiable "This is awesome" chant from the crowd. And that makes total sense. Sorry about the sniffing, guys. It's the weather. It's the really crappy weather. So Renee Young is backstage with Batista. Basically, without saying it, I'm just going to paraphrase. Batista called the fans nerds. So the yes movement's a joke. And Daniel Bryan will never be me. It's a fact. Because apparently Batista's a scientist. Unlike Eric Young. And of course, Dave Polychronopoulos, deal with it. Am I the only one in the world that references Adam Sandler whenever I bring up Batista? Sorry, that's how it works. Remember the mixed tag team match I've been calling for the last several months? Yeah, it finally happens on Raw tonight. And it doesn't go long, and it's basically filler for the show. And that's a shame. Of course, Santino, Marella, and Emma taking on Fandango and Summer Rae once again. I am going to get up on my soapbox here. And I'm going to say something right now that I've been saying for a long time. Let's go back to WrestleMania. Last year. Fandango debuted against Chris Jericho. The match wasn't as great as it could have been, and the finish was kind of blown, but they made up for it. Next night on Raw, the raucous crowd in New Jersey. What happened? Fandangoing became a thing, and he was over like Rover. But like with Zack Ryder in the past, and Dolph Ziggler in the past, even though Ziggler's kind of got a resurgence again, apparently, because he's really showing his true fed-upness with the company, Fandango has basically been forgotten. He was embarrassed at the Royal Rumble this year by El Torito, and now he is doing this feud with Santino, which is okay, because they both can definitely go. They're both comedy wrestlers, but just like with Eric Young, they actually can wrestle. They just don't need to right now, if that makes any sense. And this is all about introducing the WWE Universe to Emma, and the fact that Emma even came out to her music, which, like I said, is like an earworm. It just gets in my head, and I can't ever get it out. And it's very catchy. And I love Summer Rae, as everyone knows. So, I mean, I have no issue with this. I just wish we could do something with it. I don't know why the fans turned on him like they did. He's better than that, and I hope that my prediction I said last year that didn't come true then, and unfortunately not likely to come true now, Fandango should be a singles champion by the end of this year, and I hope they actually run with that in some way, somehow. We've got Total Divas coming up in a couple weeks, so maybe that'll help Summer Rae's TV time, which in essence will help Fandango's TV time. Let's talk about the match, shall we? Whip in reverse, Santino gets caught off the ropes with a spinning heel kick, 1-2 and a kick out, snap suplex goes up top, and he's going for the perfect 10. Santino out of the way, he leaps up, lands on his feet, and Bolo punch and the one-arm ace crusher from Santino. Tag in, boot caught, spun around, and a clothesline, and a big clothesline whip in reverse, charge in, misses, and Summer Rae gets caught in the corner with the dilemma, which, for those of you that don't know anything about Emma and NXT, and are just using me as, I didn't get a chance to watch Raw, and I'm just going to put you on the background and, like, visualize the match, John Peters style. Well, if you want to know what that move is, what the dilemma is, basically it is to Jerry's old tarantula. It's pretty much. The dilemma leads to the Emma sandwich, which Summer is like slumped in the corner, kind of like a setup for a Bronco Buster. And instead of drop kicking or instead of cannonballing, she actually does a crossbody in the corner, which is the Emma sandwich. Santino puts on the Cobra, chases Fandango from the ring, and Emma locks on the Emma lock, which is the Muda lock, or her version of it. It didn't really look very good because it didn't look like it worked for the first time, but she kind of covered it up somewhat, and that was all she wrote. Summer Rae tapped, and Emma wins. I don't know if the crowd's really getting into Emma or not. Some of them are, but I'm not sure. I know a lot of people are not really too happy about her. She can definitely wrestle, we know this. But the gimmick is not really getting over with most of the crowd. I like it. I like Emma a lot. But I mean, I'm not exactly sure if this is a WWE gimmick or not. It will hopefully grow in the universe in time. But, I mean, sometimes it takes a while to grow on people. I mean, like, if you put Paige on television right now, I'm not necessarily sure she would be over with the WWE universe. I don't know, maybe, hopefully. The people that don't watch NXT is what I'm talking about. Like, people that watch NXT, obviously, they're definitely over with, but that's another story altogether. So, we'll see more from this feud, I have a feeling. I have a guess that there's going to be some sort of interaction between the four of them on SmackDown this week. Makes sense to me. Speaking of another feud that we think is going to be a WrestleMania feud that I'm starting not to be sure about, but then again, blood was drawn tonight, so obviously this seems like a good lock for WrestleMania. It's Sheamus and Christian, which the crowd doesn't like Sheamus. He really needs to be freshened up. The heel turn would have helped, but they turned Christian instead, so yeah. Sorry, Sheamus is going to have to be a babyface for a little while longer. So, we go back to live action. Christian goes to the middle of the turnbuckle, and I'm guessing he's going to go for his spinning back elbow. He gets pulled off by Sheamus. He goes up top, and a big right hand. Christian shoves him to the floor, tosses him back in, sends him over the barricade, drags him out, tosses him back in again, 1-2, and a kick out. Falling headbutt, and 3 leaping stomps, steps on the chest, and of course the cracked ribs of Sheamus. Clothesline on the ring apron, drags him back in, steps on his face, makes a cover, 1 count only, and gets caught after he tries to fight out. Backdrop suplex on Sheamus, goes up top for the frog splash, he misses, catches the back kick in the corner, and he gets caught, put up on the shoulders, and the Finley roll. Axe handle, second one ducked, the charging shoulder, it's either ducked or it's glancing blow, I couldn't really tell from my vantage point. The running knee misses, he tosses him over, excuse me, elbows his way out, goes face first to the top turnbuckle, goes up top, gets caught, hot shot into the clubbing blows with Sheamus on the ring apron instead of in the ring this time. Hits the high knee on the apron, goes off the ropes, hits the high knee, 1-2, Christian kicks out. Ducks the clothesline, falling inverted DDT, crowd starting to turn on the match. Goes up top with the frog splash, it connects, 1-2, and Sheamus kicks out. So he goes for the slingshot uppercut, punches blocked, picked up, white noise, 1-2, and a kick out. Goes for the high cross, gets countered, back kick, Sheamus goes to the ring apron, and ends up brogue kicking him from the ring apron, and that's all she wrote, 1-2-3. After the match is over, of course, Sheamus wins in a finish we haven't seen before. Which is interesting because these two have faced off so many times. They need to do something with it. And they do just that because Sheamus is in the locker room and he gets attacked by Christian. Christian does a vicious beating, draws literal first blood, and we look like we're leading towards a stipulation match of sorts at WrestleMania 30. And I think that's probably the direction we're going to go here. I don't know where we're going. I think Christian drew first blood, so I think that we may do some sort of a hardcore match or a first blood stipulation at WrestleMania. Certainly we could do worse. This is probably Christian's last WrestleMania, so I mean, Christian's obviously going to want to go out with a bang without any question. So, what does WWE do next? Well, you go as the Shield and the Wyatt family. You give us new tag team champions. Then you give us Sheamus and Christian. What do you do now? You bring in the Bella Twins. And they face off against Alicia Fox and Oksana. This match was okay. Running knee by Brie. Brie mode. She gets pulled off the top by Oksana. Tagging Alicia Fox, makes cover 1-2 and a kick out. Chinlock. Slams her head in the mat, tags Oksana, she does the same. Tag back into Alicia Fox, whip into the buckle. Tag back into Oksana, stomp in, and tag back into Alicia Fox. They've cut off the ring on the bells right now. 1-2 and a kick out. Straight jacket chinlock, and she flips her off. Sunset, tag into Nikki Bella. Clothesline, standing drop kick, and drop kicks Oksana. Nikki comes in, and back body drop after a chin breaker. Looked okay. Oksana makes a save. Brie mode on Oksana, which is the missile dropkick off the middle rope. And Alicia Fox, she goes for the scissor kick in the corner. And she gets caught up on the buckle. She gets the Bella Breaker, which is the torture rack, into the backbreaker. And that's all she wrote, 1-2-3. And the Bella Twins beat Alicia Fox and Oksana. Basically, it was just done to quiet down the crowd. And obviously, tonight of all nights, you're not going to see AJ Lee in attendance, so they had to throw something out in this situation. So we thought the next thing we were going to get was Daniel Bryan against Batista, but apparently we're going to find out that's going to be later on in the evening. Daniel Bryan comes out, gets a microphone, he says, "We have a voice. We are going to hijack Raw." How appropriate, given the fact that the fans were trying to hijack Raw. Daniel Bryan is now alluding to the fact that he, along with the Yes Movement, are going to hijack Raw. I won't leave the ring until I get one of two things. Fans start chanting for CM Punk. Bryan smiles. And basically, one, Batista comes out here to fight me, or Triple H comes out to answer my challenge. Triple H and Stephanie come out. I stand with these people behind me. I'm stronger than ever. You and me at WrestleMania 30. Triple H says, it's not going to happen. Why can't you accept failure and your inadequacies? This is the blame era. They always blame everyone else. They make excuses. They buried me, they held me down, they screwed me over. You know what? Your reality check? Ones that failed, they're just not good enough. You're a B-plus player. That's pretty good. A good little spot for you. It's going to take a whole lot more than a B-plus for me to lace up my boots at WrestleMania. Great line for Triple H right there. See, these people here, they see through your lies. That's why they chant for me. You don't listen to the Yes Movement. You don't want us to succeed. The only way you're going to see it for yourself is I beat the crap out of you at WrestleMania. Triple H has to give Bryan a reality check. He says, you know what? They're going to turn on you. I've seen it happen before. The only ones that won't turn on you, me and Stephanie. Stephanie gets up on her high horse and says, without my family, you would have nothing. This ring was set up, television distribution, the whole 9 yards. Without my family, you wouldn't have your underdog persona, or your t-shirts, or chanting yes. You go back to where you came from. Simply put, we made you. So, Bryan, of course, calls her bluff and says, well, why don't you switch? Why don't you put on the trunks, Stephanie? And Triple H, why don't you put on Stephanie's skirt? And how about we fight at WrestleMania? So, you could sit back and watch. Triple H says, you know what, I'm 90% sure she'd whip your ass too. 10%. So you said there's a chance. You know what, it's just not going to happen. Get over it. This match is not going to happen. You just don't measure up. Now get out of my ring. Bryan stops him dead in his tracks like, this isn't your ring. And Stephanie's like, oh yeah, it's our ring. He's like, no. This is their ring. Points to the WWE Universe, and they're going crazy for Bryan at this point. Everything in this arena, including them, and you belong to us. Now get the hell out of my ring, Triple H says. Bryan calls his bluff again. Why don't you make me? So Triple H basically says, you know what, all your idle threats, doesn't matter. This is my first rodeo. You think we're going to go to the schoolyard? And of course, he mocks him like a child. Stephanie calls out for Kane. Kane comes out. Bryan nails him with a tope. Starts pounding away. Kane's down, getting pounded by Bryan. Steph calls for security. Here comes the refs. Yells for security. And of course, security comes out. They grab Bryan and they pretty much send him to the back. So that's all she wrote there. Now, another thing that was announced for this special edition of Raw was a guest star. Not a guest host, a guest star, which means that there's a guy who's going to be a part of one segment, and that was it. And it was Aaron Paul. Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad, or promoting his new movie, Need for Speed, which comes out next week. So he's going to come out, and he's going to drive Dolph Ziggler to the ring. Ziggler's been chanted for all night. Ziggler is basically getting the Zack Ryder treatment in Chicago tonight. Alberto Del Rio comes out, and then we hear some revving of an engine. Del Rio, of course, has a flashback of when he used to get this treatment. And sure enough, Aaron Paul drives a Shelby Mustang into the ring, side area, and out jumps the show-off. So, Aaron Paul is going to escort Dolph Ziggler to the ring. This marks another celebrity interaction for Dolph. Dolph, of course, was punched out by Hugh Jackman. And now he gets escorted to the ring by Aaron Paul. Not a bad resume. So, apparently Aaron Paul's going to join us for commentary. Interesting. And it was. We go to the ring in the actual match here. Standing dropkick on Del Rio. Charges into the 10 punch in the corner. Reverse neckbreaker goes to the name dropper. Gets countered out. Tilt-a-whirl. Backbreaker 1-2 and a kick out. Goes for the GSK. Ducks. Exclamation point DDT 1-2 and Del Rio kicks out. Del Rio plants it with a divorce court. GSK connects this time 1-2 and Ziggler kicks out. Aaron Paul jumps up on the announce table for a distraction on Del Rio. He's like, forget you. You're not going to interrupt me in my match. What can you do from out there? And he goes for the cross-arm breaker. It gets countered. Spun around, zigzag, 1-2-3. Dolph Ziggler defeats Alberto Del Rio clean in the center of the ring, thanks to the help of the distraction from Aaron Paul. Yes, that was your guest star. Okay, match for what it was. Ziggler finally gets some revenge for the fact that Del Rio is the reason he lost the World Heavyweight Championship with the same GSK that I talked about earlier. And for those of you that are new to Pop and you're wondering why I call certain things the way I do, and I've adapted names of maneuvers that I've came up with, GSK is basically an easy way to say the grounded sidekick. That's pretty much what it is, so that's why I called it GSK. If that makes any sense. When Dolph uses the Famouser, it's called the name dropper. That's the reason I call that the way I do. And if you're watching a Daniel Bryan match, the running knee is the fire-breathing knee, obviously given his past as the American Dragon. So, we get our next announcement for the 2014 WWE Hall of Fame. And somebody very respected in this business and very well-deserved gets to be announced. Paul Bearer is officially announced as the next member of the WWE Hall of Fame. I have zero problems with this. And he joins probably one of the best classes and the most controversial classes and probably the most entertaining of speeches classes in recent memory. I mean, come on. The only thing missing from this right now is a tag team, which I've been mentioning Demolition forever, and a celebrity, which of course will end up being Mr. T, because that just makes sense. So, no issues with this. No issues with this at all. It was the right thing to do, and I think this is leading towards the end for The Undertaker. Now, I've been on record saying numerous times there's still several matches Taker has left. This may be setting up the end. I mean, he puts Paul Bearer in the Hall of Fame legitimately, and then the next year he retires. I could be wrong, but I don't know if WrestleMania 31 would be the last WrestleMania for The Undertaker or not, but if The Undertaker faces John Cena, I'm pretty sure that's the end. Not of his streak, that's not going to happen, but that's the end of his WrestleMania run. Because for me, the next match needs to be against Bray Wyatt. Because I've been talking about this for a long time. I think Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker could have... Promos alone would be just out of this world. So. Apparently we need another Big E match. So Big E is going to be facing off against Jack Swagger in a rematch from their awesome match, Elimination Chamber. The bell sounds, Cesaro just gets in the ring, nails the Gotch-style neutralizer on Big E. Disqualification. Looks at Jack, says, now we're even. Jack shoves Cesaro. So, he says, okay, fine. It's like, let cooler heads prevail. It's fine. I'm just going to forget you even did that. What does Swagger do? He shoves him again. So Cesaro double legs him to a pop from the crowd, and he's going for the swing. Zeb stops him. Be a real American. Don't do this to your brother. For the sake of the people, don't do it. So what does Cesaro do? He succumbs to this. He helps Swagger up, like he's asked. And Zeb's trying to separate them. He's like, hug it out. And no Dr. Shelby in the crowd, by the way. So they have a very tense hug. Why don't you put this in the past? They, of course, do the We the People, staring intensely at each other, and we've continued to chip away at the Real Americans, thus leading to a match between Cesaro, Swagger at WrestleMania. Potentially, with a title on the line. Now, I'm not saying that one of them is going to be champion. What I'm saying is they're talking title unification with Big E and Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania. That's what I'm thinking will probably happen. If that does happen, why don't we just do a 4-way? You have Ambrose, Big E, Cesaro, and Swagger. Winner take all. That sounds like a good idea. And Cesaro, of course, will stand tall. Now, what's going to happen soon is there's going to have to be an official heel turn. And I'm sure it's coming. So, Daniel Bryan and Kane are officially announced in a match for the live edition of Main Event tonight on the WWE Network, as well as the rematch between the Usos defending against the New Age Outlaws. So John Cena limps out. He's got his leg bandaged. Selling his leg injury, which have been told is a potential groin injury, which we don't know if it's work or shoot. He says, because of doctor's orders, I will not have a match tonight. Fans are chanting yes. He says, you know what, I'll take that as your way of saying get well soon. I want to hear the energy and passion of an entire city. I had a special moment with somebody at Money in the Bank, not mentioning Punk by name, of course. I respect this city. I know you're honest and loud. And you know what, all night I've been listening. And I understand. The WWE Universe, they want change. And I respect that. But you know, success is earned. And change, it goes through me. Any superstar in the back? My name is John Cena. I'm in the exact same place my career started, here in the Allstate Arena in 2002. Back then, and even now, I'm still standing tall. Wide interruption. Look at you, John. You're out here standing all alone. You build this empire all around you, and can you feel the energy all around you? You remind me of one of those championship thoroughbreds. He's been racing for a long time, and the people cheer for him, and he wins. But eventually, that horse starts to slow down, and reality sets in. Because he's not just looking for the next finish line, he's lying back there on a slab. When will your reality set in? How long do you think that you can fend us off? Mercy is calling you by name. I am the Reaper, and I will put you down. Let me let you in on a little secret. The loneliest man is the man who sits in an empty castle. Who will be left for you? John, when I take it all away, follow the buzzards. Brilliance, as always. I love those promos. Every single one of them. They're all phenomenal. This feud with John Cena against the Wyatt family is going to be great. And Bray Wyatt's a made man. He's going to be completely made after WrestleMania. Win, lose, or draw, he's going to be made at WrestleMania without any question. The fans are into the Wyatt family. They're going to be into the Wyatt family. And this is a huge rub to work with John Cena, obviously. I think the match is going to be really good. Psychologically speaking, it's already been awesome. They struck first blood. Not literally, but they injured John Cena. They left him limping. They left him laying. And now they're leaving wondering. They're taking down the machine one brick at a time, and they're starting at the top with John Cena. I like this a lot. So Batista shows up, and who's he running to? Somebody that apparently finally made it to the building after Randy Orton. Orton looks at Dave and says, "Big man, I wish you best of luck." So, this is really late in the night. Like, we're almost at 11 o'clock, by the way. Here comes Lana, brings Alexander Rusev out. He stands on top of an Olympic-style podium. Cuts a promo in Russian. Bulgarian brute, super athlete. I think it might be interesting, but I don't know if it's the right time. I think if you build him up and build him up and build him up and you finally debut him officially the night after WrestleMania, I think it's a good idea because there's way too much going on right now and it kind of bogs everything down. For WrestleMania season, we have to get through our WrestleMania matches. After WrestleMania, we can start over fresh again and do new feuds and new debuts and say bye-bye to some people. I think the day after WrestleMania, you do something with Rusev and have him start making his presence known rather quickly. I like these vignettes. They work really well. They're very old school. The only thing missing from that was Mean Gene interviewing him on a Superstar set. And from what I've heard on pictures I saw, there was actually a set up for an interview segment that it never went anywhere. So I don't know if they do anything with it. They did anything with it on Superstars. I doubt it. So who knows. Randy Orton comes out for the match starts, and he's going to sit at ringside and watch this. Your main event for the evening, Batista taking on the MVP of the WWE, Daniel Bryan. We go midway through this very short match here. We have the stiff kicks in the corner, and he ties the knee up in the ropes. Drop kick to the knee, and locks in a half crab. Batista reverses momentum and kicks Bryan away. So, excuse me. 3 European uppercuts, whip in reverse, and a big clothesline explodes out of the corner. Batista picks him up over his shoulders and drops him across the top rope, tosses him out. We come back to live action, and we're back at break at 11:08. So we actually went to the final commercial break on Raw at 11:08. Something's going to happen. Something big's going to happen. At least is what everyone is supposed to think. Dave with the chin lock. Bryan elbows out, whip in. Backflip lands on his feet. Bryan ducks the clothesline, hooking clothesline of his own. Charging dropkick in the corner once, twice, and on the third, Batista goes to the floor to break momentum. Bryan topes him into the barricade. Tosses Dave back in. Up top, missile dropkick. Kip up, the yes kicks, the buzzsaw, 1-2, and a kick out. Goes up top, and preferably for the swan dive headbutt. Triple H, Stephanie, and Kane come out. Batista sends Bryan to the floor. And then Bryan goes to the steps. This is a great move by Batista. He picks up Bryan and launches him into Randy Orton at ringside. Batista tries to take advantage. Bryan high kicks him. Orton nails him from behind. Nails Bryan from behind. Goes for the RKO on Batista after pounding the mat like an idiot. And he gets tossed off into the fire-breathing knee. So he gets the running dropkick on Batista. Kane's on the ring apron for a distraction. Kane gets knocked off the ring apron, lands on Triple H. Fans are going insane. He charges in. He's going to go for the tope on Triple H and runs into a body check from Batista because that's not a spear I've ever seen. Triple H backs Kane off before he's about to attack. He says, "I'm tired of your fantasy crap." Bryan back kicks him in the head. Batista picks him up. Batista bomb on Bryan. Triple H picks up Bryan for good measure. Pedigrees him in the center of the ring. Triple H, Stephanie, and Kane stand over Daniel Bryan with the fans chanting for CM Punk as we fade to black. Now, of course, if you're watching on the WWE Network during the Raw Backstage Pass, the post-show, after everything was said and done, the Big Show and John Cena helped chase everyone in the back. They left Randy Orton for dead. He ate finishers from all the baby faces, and Bryan, Cena, and Big Show were left standing in the center of the ring, and that pretty much ended the show. So, you have planted a lot of seeds. And it's funny, but there was a tweet that was posted that was saying that there was going to be, like, you need to tell the fans that they need to stand back because there's a guy that's maybe possibly jumping the barricade. Punk comes to the crowd. Fans were cheering for Punk all night long. They wanted him to make the save for their hero. He never did. So, yeah. CM Punk screwed everybody. And apparently there was a deal on the table, supposedly, for him to return tonight. Didn't happen. If Punk's not happy in the company, he doesn't have to be there. He doesn't need to be there. And he walks in July, and I don't think he returns. But it's professional wrestling, so of course, things can change at the drop of a dime. I liked the show for what it was. The fans tried to hijack it, and the WWE just turned it right back around and gave them entertaining action. So All the Punk chants were only in the lulls in the show, except for sometimes they were in places they shouldn't have been. But I guess that's how it works sometimes. So that was Raw tonight. I like the show for what it was. I say, as usual, I always talk about things you need to check out. If you need to check out the Paul Heyman pipe bomb, please do it. Do it now. The Usos winning the tag team titles, you definitely want to check that out. The Shield and the Wyatt family again, check that out. Christian and Sheamus, it doesn't matter about the crowd. It actually wasn't a bad match. I enjoyed it. And, actually, I think there's something I'm missing here. The altercation, the promo between Triple H and Stephanie against Daniel Bryan, yeah, check that out. And the final segment, watch that, and the crowd just deflated when they knew Punk wasn't going to show up. It's like when Mysterio was the kid at the Rumble, and they knew that Bryan wasn't going to be number 30, which everybody thought he was going to be. So, I know that a lot of people are starting to turn on things. And I was reading a lot of things on Twitter tonight. Actually, people were not happy with the show overall. They weren't happy with what happened. But, honestly, it was an enjoyable show. I enjoyed it for what it was, to be totally honest. I'm not exactly sure if the fans got what they wanted. Obviously, they didn't. They got a great show. WWE just didn't let up. Like, I had a cramp in my hand because I wrote so much tonight. That's the reason why we're over an hour talking about this show. We're on the road to WrestleMania. We've got about a month left to go, and then we get to the nitty-gritty. So, there's a lot of directions you can go. I'm also going to say right now, Triple H, Daniel Bryan will happen at WrestleMania, but it's not the end game. Do I think Bryan wrestles twice at WrestleMania? Yes, I do. I think that Bryan will beat Triple H and be inserted into the WrestleMania title match against Randy Orton and Batista. And I think that Hulk Hogan will be the one that does that. I think Hogan, being the host of WrestleMania, is going to be the one who interjects himself and says, you know what? You beat Triple H, you're going to get in this match. And Hogan's going to make an announcement, apparently, this week about WrestleMania. So maybe, just maybe, something might come out of it. So, do I think we'll see Bryan and Triple H at WrestleMania? It's a certainty. Do I think it's the only thing Bryan does at WrestleMania? Not a chance. Do I think CM Punk's will return at WrestleMania? I don't believe so. I don't think Punk's going to come back. I could be wrong. But for the present time, Punk's not coming back, folks. So get used to life with CM Punk not on your programs. So that's how it works sometimes. You get fed up with your surroundings and you have to do something, and you walk out of the company. I mean, I don't know how that happens. I really don't. So then again, Punk obviously has his reasons. And I don't support what he did, but he's obviously... Punk walks to his own drum. That's how it's always been, so I don't have an issue with Punk personally, but I mean... He had a chance to come back in front of his hometown crowd tonight. He didn't do it, so... I know there's going to be a lot of people who will be saying, oh, and you don't know what's going on. Like, no one knows what's going on. So, I mean, it's just speculation. But, yeah. Punk, you're in the wrong at this point, to be totally honest. So, who knows what's going to happen. Who knows? But wrestling content will continue on Pop starting tomorrow, actually. NXT Arrival will be tomorrow. Thursday will be Impact. And this Sunday will be Lockdown pay-per-view in Miami, as well as SmackDown and next week's Raw. So that's coming up. And I will continue to watch more WWE Network, and hopefully I'll be talking about that soon. So this is a long video. Hopefully you guys are still with me. And hopefully you guys enjoyed Raw tonight. So it was an enjoyable show. Not for the reasons that the fans wanted, but it's okay. I like this. It builds more tension, and it builds more towards the climax, which is WrestleMania. And then we can start over on April 7th. So in the meantime, If you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, and help spread the word about Pop. If you'd like to like our Facebook fan page, it's Sir Owen Disney Pop. If you want to, I don't know, be my friend on Facebook, you can. It's Owen Disney. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Sir Owen Disney. And last but certainly not least, you want to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions, ideas you have for verses, movie reviews, anything. You want to talk Disney, you want to talk Universal, you want to talk wrestling, just hit me up. It's SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. In the meantime, thank you guys and girls out there for watching. I'll get this videos up as soon as I possibly can. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.